Is it the CIA or is it the FBI that like recruits extraordinarily heavily from the Mormons?
Both.
Right.
Both the CIA and FBI both recruit heavily from Mormons. Mormons are overrepresented in both.
Why?
I
I
don't
feel
know.
like I've heard this before, but I never figured out why. I actually know some Mormons. They're great. You're right, people. I do think it's a bit weird that they're overrepresented in the CIA and the FBI, but yeah.
I do think that it might have to do with like it's a more conservative culture. Yeah, that is true.
Mhm.
Two, there is sort of this emphasis on civil service as a way to like garner more, because like they're very preoccupied with like Mormons being accepted as part of American society,
Yeah.
and so there's that. Also, yeah, they don't drink, which is like apparently the FBI and CIA keep pretty close tabs on like allowing you to drink. They do. They typically are multilingual, which is not a lot of Americans are.
Mm.
They typically because when they're Mormons, when they come of age, when they're about like 18, 19, they're supposed to go on a 2 year missionary mission, and
Yeah.
so they typically learn the language of wherever it is that they're assigned to go. Yeah, so like it's all of those things together. Like a Mormon, a guy who is, going to have like who's obsessed with like having a normal nuclear family and like a suburban lifestyle is not going to be seen as a security risk. And so they're prime targets for being like CIA agents or FBI agents or whatever.
Godless. The only thing I really know about like Mormons and politics is it's like from the Victorian era when some of them wanted to like set up their own state in Utah or something.
Yeah,
That's all I really know.
they had this issue where wherever they set up shop, people kept trying to kill them. So they kept moving on, and eventually Joseph Smith was killed by a mob. And so they were like, well, I guess Brigham Young has to take us somewhere where we can get away from all of these Americans who are trying to kill us. So they decided that the middle of nowhere, otherwise known as, yeah, Deseret, which is like modern day Utah, basically. And so
Godless.
that's how they like founded Salt Lake City and everything like that. And
Amazing. I
there
recently
was
managed to set up Deseret as a puppet kingdom of the German Empire in Victoria too.
very good
So that's
high
my
performance. Your Mormon puppet state.
I'm a Mormon puppet state in California.
Yeah. The other thing too is that then because they still practiced polygamy at the time, they were still considered like enemies of the state. And so as the Americans were trying to incorporate the area that would become Utah, they like frequently had clashes with the federal government, like violent clashes with the federal government, as like the United States basically was invading Mormon territory.
Oh my God.
And then at one point they eventually gave in order to be accepted and not like rammed over as part of the United States expansion. They had to give up polygamy, and so they had the father of the church had a revelation that polygamy was no longer good, and it led to like a serious splintering of the church. And there are like some breakoffs of the Mormons in all sorts of areas that still you probably hear about them. They live in compounds and typically fucked up shit happens when they're like raided and stuff. But yeah, that's how they were able to do it, and that's when they got Utah turned into a state. And so yeah, history's fun.
Incredible. Holy shit. I need to learn way more about like Deseret just generally. I'm looking up they were gonna have a theo-democracy.
They supported
Sure.
themselves with banditry and counterfeiting and had a tendency to threaten public officials. Yeah, I know they were based. I
Which
get
is
it.
based.
Like I get
Based.
it.
They probably did some unbased shit too, but like fighting the federal government is in my book a win.
Yeah. Um.
God, I really don't know shit about the Mormon Church during this time. I have
I
no claim
know,
to say
but
anything.
man,
I'm extraordinarily Swedish and shouldn't do anything like this. The
but
Mormon
like
Church in Sweden is basically just like one of the free churches.